my biggest knock on last night's game was how long it took. If there was something about last night, I mean, 2 hours for the first half is just ridiculous. I mean,
yeah, absolutely, one of the longest halves I've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, there was moments I actually shut the game off and started watching Spider-Man 3 for a little bit because I was just like, they're still playing football? Like, I mean, it's getting late. Like, let's get this decided. And then the fourth quarter comes and the Denver defense steps up, forces back-to-back 3-and-outs. Peyton Manning's driving them down the field, and you're like, all right, now we got a football game. And, I got to say, it's weird to me with this Denver defense because you watch them do this all year last year where they sort of bend and occasionally break and give up points. And then all of a sudden, when they know they're trailing but have a chance to win the game, they're one of the scariest defenses you ever watch. It's unbelievable how they played when all of a sudden it's, 27-7 and they make a stop and Peyton scores and all of a sudden they're like, well, we're only 2 possessions down and there's 9 minutes left. We're going to play the greatest defense of our life. Yeah. And you saw them do this last year as well with Tim Tebow. I mean, why wait till the fourth quarter to be like that?
It's the mentality they have. They don't play hard until the game's on the line. And I don't
get that. Now, I will say...
It's coaching. To me, that aspect of the game, it comes down to coaching. You have to get your players up and ready to go first second of the game from opening kickoff. And Denver's defense doesn't do that, and I blame John Fox for that.
Yeah, it sort of confuses me. I never really understood that. And like I said, I feel like I've watched that with Denver's defense now almost. This is the second year in a row that
I never coached on obviously an NFL level or anything. I only coached, 8th grade kids. But there wasn't a game that my kids weren't ready for, and it didn't go out and play hard. And if they weren't playing hard from the opening snap, there's somebody else waiting to go in the game.
Now, do you feel that because a lot of people are saying, the refs at one point took 10 minutes to make a decision on one play.
As long as they get the decision right, it doesn't matter. The replacement refs will get better. As the season goes on and they get more acclimated, they get more adjusted, they start to feel more comfortable, they'll get better.
I agree with that.
That's just a fact.
It's just like anything else in life. The more you do it, the better you get at it.
Exactly. And eventually people will, forget about this replacement ref nonsense. No matter what, it doesn't affect you to the point where you're not going to watch football anymore. You're still going to watch football on Sundays. I'm going to watch football on Sundays. Every fan around the country isn't going to stop watching because there's a replacement ref in the game. They may complain about it. They may not like it, but nobody will stop watching because of it, and the owners know that. And that's why the owners won't give in. And I don't blame them. I wouldn't give in to them either. I'm normally a player guy. I normally stand up for the players. I am not standing up for these refs at all whatsoever. I don't want to hear about integrity of the game. I don't want to hear about players getting injured. Players are getting injured before these replacement refs. They're going to get injured after these replacement refs. It's part of the game. I don't want to hear that these guys are putting other people in jeopardy. And to be honest, taking 10 minutes to make a call doesn't matter that much as long as they get the call right. That's the bottom line. Getting the call right.
And you know what? That's completely true. You got to get the call right. I think that the sad part is when they actually do get better is when you're going to see the regular refs come back. You're going to see the replacement refs starting to get good and be, comfortable with what they're doing. And all of a sudden, that's when you're going to see the regular refs say, all right, well, if we don't hurry up, we're going to end up losing our jobs to these guys. I think one of the, my biggest knock, if anything that I have on them, is their lack of confidence in what they're doing. And when I say that, I mean, think about, doing this show. You come into this show and you come in prepared, you take your notes, and you know what you want to say, and you have your own opinions on things, and you're pretty much ready. Now, obviously, you have to react on the flow of the show, and certain things happen, and we never know when something might pop up on Twitter that's breaking news that might have to be talked about. But when it comes down to it, these guys are getting prepared for these games Yet when it's time to execute the things they prepared for, there's no confidence to them. There's no, look, I know this. I worked all week to make this call. I know it. Let me go make the call. And that's the one issue that I really have is that, last night this is a small little play that I highly doubt anybody even picked up on. But it really stuck out to me. It was 3rd and 1, Atlanta's ball. They really wanted to get a first down to keep the drive going. They run a little quick out with their slot wide receiver. The slot corner gets beat and grabs the wide receiver's jersey. Now, the wide receiver is running his route and gets jerked back, jerked. Like somebody grabs his jersey and he goes like this and can't reach out for the ball. First ruling is refs rule the ball incomplete. 20 seconds goes by and all of a sudden you see the yellow flag all of a sudden come out. And then they spend another 2 minutes talking about it. And then they finally come out and make the call holding on the defense. And now I'm like, okay, well, you got the call right. But that is a play that as a referee, you see it happen. You knew it happened, but you were hesitant to throw your flag. And then once you finally did throw your flag, you guys had to have a conversation over something because you weren't 100% sure if you should make that call.
Yeah.
That's where my issue lies. You were right. Have confidence in what you're doing. You prepare for this. You spend
whether
all
these
week.
guys make the right call or the wrong call, they're getting criticized every which way, and that's why they're nervous to make any call, is because they know no matter what the call is, whether it's right, whether it's wrong, they're going to be, meticulously, scrutinized over everything, to the point where now we're even counting down the seconds on how long it takes them to make a call.
Well, I pulled that out of my hat, but I know what you're saying. And you know what? You are right. They are being critiqued and looked at under a magnifying glass that no referees have ever dealt with. But at the same time, every call by every ref in every sport, if it's a good call or a bad call, if it goes against your team or for your team, is always going to be critiqued and judged. And there are refs. I mean, come on, how many? You got that ref last year that blew the perfect game on the pitcher from the White Sox, who's in tears the following day handing out his pitching, when they're doing the lineup card, in tears. But yet, the day before, he made the call without talking to anybody. He made what he believed was the right call. You call it game and you walk off the field. There's no reason for you to have such a lack of confidence that you need to take that, unless they're not preparing. That's the only excuse that, to me, they have. That's where I get aggravated. That's where my issue is that if you're going to, I'm sorry, like, think about it like this. I have my notes written right here. It'd be like me looking at my notes and getting ready to read them on air, but reading them first before I read them on air. Like sitting here and be like, okay, well, so blah, blah. Like, I wrote these notes with confidence last night so that there's no hesitation today on the show. I don't have to worry about what I'm going to say because I'm confident in what I wrote down the night before, that I was going to be prepared and not sound like a moron today. Even though I might still sound like a moron, but that's just me being me. But when it comes down to actual stats that I'm reading and the little notes that I put down that I wanted to mention during the show, I don't have to reread them before I say them to everybody because I prepared. And that's where my issue is.
To be honest, as long as they get the call right, I have no issue with the replacement refs. I don't. And even when they get the call wrong, I don't have an issue with the replacement refs because they're not costing teams games. Are they costing you a precious few minutes that you got to sit and wait for them to make a call? Maybe. But like I said, that'll get better as the season goes on. That's not going to continually be this bad come week 16 and 17.
We hope not.
They'll get better. That's a guarantee. The more games they do, the more comfortable they'll get, and then nervousness will start going away.
Hey, I hope so for their sake, and I hope so for the fans' sake. Because I completely agree with you, no matter what these referees do, no matter how long it takes, no matter how bad they do, so on and so forth, people are going to keep watching football. It's that simple. Nobody's gonna shut off a game in the middle of an intense game because a ref made a bad call, or because the refs are taking 10 minutes to make a call. No, nobody's gonna do it. Especially if your team's the team playing, you're just not gonna do it. So I gotta give that, but I just really wish that they spent the time that they spend preparing. They were able to carry that confidence into the game. And then you can't even get started with the lack of respect that the coaches have for him. That's a whole nother conversation. I mean, the coaches just talk to these guys like nothing. But either which way, ladies and gentlemen, that was one hell of a little rant on last night's game. Bottom line is, though, the Falcons win, the Broncos lose, puts Atlanta at 2-0, only undefeated. One of the few, only 6 undefeated teams in the entire NFL right now. They join that list. Now, I will say, I got to agree with, I believe McLovin G-Man put it in the chat room, of the fact that even with the 3 interceptions and fumble by Denver's offense, that defense did stand strong, which, I did mention that they really turned it on in the fourth quarter, but he made it, and I actually think he made a really good point with that even with the turnovers that they dealt with, they still really stood strong and held their own. So, much respect to them. Matt Ryan goes 24-36, 219 yards, 2 touchdowns. No real run game for Atlanta still, but that offense relying on Matt Ryan still looks pretty damn good. And with that, I mean, unless there's anything else you want to throw in about the game, maybe something you caught or anything that stuck out to you, we're going to hit our first music break. Eric, yeah, no, maybe? Anything stuck out from the game from you? You good?
No, I'm good. Peyton Manning didn't look great. Matt Ryan looked good. Roddy White had a good game.
Hey, okay with that. All right.
Yeah.